Mahalo everyone, and welcome to another deck video here on the Jolly Scarecrows channel. And today I'm going to present to you a Ancient Gear deck. This is very much a kind of a go second deck involving the Ancient Gear monsters, which are designed to kind of pulverize your opponent without them being able to activate spells or traps. It's not the best deck ever, but it can do some quite hilarious go second OTKs. The, I guess, main plays that you're going to be making involve things like this. The Ancient Gear Wyvern, probably one of the best monsters in the deck, essentially allows you to search for any Ancient Gear card, add it to your hand, and you can't use set cards, which is why we're not running any. The only the trap you might personally consider running is Red Reboot, which is in the side. The Wyvern allows you to fetch Box, and when that's added, you can fetch a monster with 500 attack or defense. So you can add in the Frame, and this basically just lets you keep getting card advantage because your main strategy is to try and summon out either the Ancient Gear Megaton Golem, which requires 3 Ancient Gear monsters, or the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, which requires 4. You're going to be wanting to try and fusion summon using Power Bond to double their attack. And so if you see this Ancient Gear Giant, that'll put it at 9,000 attack. It's unaffected by spells or traps. It inflicts piercing damage, and it can tackle your opponent's monsters. So you can see how this can just railroad into causing 8,000 points of damage. Megaton Golem slightly different, but if it's affected, if it leaves the field because of your opponent's effect, you can then special summon out another 4,400 beta. So yeah, pretty good cards. The Frame has a kind of nice effect when it's on the field. You can add an Ancient Gear Golem or your a Fortress or a Fusion to your hand. So the Fusion is the specific spell. This actually, its bonus effect doesn't come around too often. Basically, if you have an Ancient Gear Golem on the field, you can then use cards from the deck. The kind of the easiest way to do that is through using either Ancient Gear Frames effect. If it's destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon 3 of them, which is incredible. Or the Route 1 approach is using Gear Town. If you played the game for a while, you should know that this is a really good field spell. So not only do you get 1 less tribute summon, you won't be doing that much, but that's its mainstay effect. But your main aim is to try and destroy your own Gear Town. So you can special summon any one of your Ancient Gear monsters. So if you've got Fusion in hand, you'll want to be trying to destroy Gear Town to get out either the Ultimate Pound or the regular Gear Golem. The way you destroy Gear Town is mostly through this Ancient Gear Catapult. So you can, when you control no monsters, you can target your field spell, destroy it. So your ideal opening play, you play Gear Town, you play Catapult, you destroy your own Gear Town, and then you get to summon 2 Ancient Gear monsters from your deck. Very nice opening play if you can get it, if you can get through any of your opponent's disruption. So in terms of Ancient Gear Fortress, which I've not really mentioned, so this basically stops your opponent from targeting Ancient Gear monsters during the turn they're summoned, and hopefully you should be winning that turn 2 anyway, so that should be the only turn that matters. We're running 3 copies of Ultimate Pound and Gear Golem, mostly just to try and get numbers up when using things like Hunting Hound. So this is a kind of rogue one of that we're playing, which you can obviously search with the Wyvern if you haven't got a fusion spell, and that lets you fusion summon when it's summoned to the field. We're on the Kaiju engine, so in terms of interrupting, I don't know, Dragoon or something like that, I think as a go second deck, it's basically a must-have at this point in time. So we're running the minimum amount that we can, because there's a lot of cards that you'd want to have in this deck but aren't in there for consistency purposes. So 2 Gadala, 2 Gamma Seal, and 1 Jizukiru, plus the 3 interrupted Kaiju Slumber. We're running 3 copies of Overload Fusion, so hopefully the idea is you get 2 fusion summons off and try and overrun with that if you haven't been able to get 1 Power Bond and then maybe another monster from your normal summon. So yeah, Overload Fusion will let you get the Chaos Ancient Gear Giant if you have 4 Ancient Gears in the grave. I've not talked about Howitzer yet. This is another way to get out an Ancient Gear monster from the deck. I've done it before where I've actually just rammed this straight into something. So maybe if you have 2 rogue Ancient Gears, I don't know, Box and Hunting, if you open badly, summon Howitzer, ram it into something, and then you get to special summon an Ancient Gear from the deck, maybe like an Ultimate Pound. And yeah, you can then, if it's piercing damage, you can attack in a row, and then you can go in to your whole deck if you have an Ancient Gear Fusion in your hand. You can get level 8s out on the field fairly quickly. We're actually running 8 of them if you count the Kaijus. Actually running 10. So you can often bring out number 38. The Galaxy Eye is obviously number 38, really good when you're playing I don't know, Sky Strikers or something that's heavily spell orientated. The last card I think I'll mention is Ballista. So again, this is often good if you've got something like a Wyvern and something else on the field. Maybe you've got Wyvern and a token, which you've got from the effect of Catapult. So you can banish Catapult from the graveyard, destroy a card you control, which could be Gear-Tem again. So you can use its effects both from the graveyard or from the field if you control no monsters. Destroy it, get your token, and then you can use one of your 4 stars and the token to bring out Ballista, and that lets you search for any Ancient Gear monster or a Gear Town. Plus, it then has the Spell and Trap Destruction effect, which you can use either on the Gear Town if you haven't used it that turn already, or actually you can use it whenever, or Ancient Gear Fortress. So that lets you special summon an Ancient Gear monster from your graveyard. If that would be preferable. If you've got it face up on the field, sometimes that's just a free summon. And really, obviously, you're going to always want to try and get to that 3 Ancient Gears for the fusion summon because of how good Megaton Golem is compared to, say, the Howitzer, which uses 2. So yeah, that is pretty much all for the deck. The side really just showcases cards you could use. So we never really found that we tribute summoned Reactor Dragon a lot, and destroying a spell trap on the field, it's not overly necessary because the idea is hopefully you're just going to pummel through them. So I think it's kind of after the horse has bolted if you're doing it at the end of the damage step once Reactor Dragon has attacked. Similarly with Gadget, there's a whole, I don't know, it just seems like a bit of a waste of a theme really to link Ancient Gears and Gadgets together, but that's what these 2 do. They're in the side if you fancy that. Some decks play more Hunting Hound and use those as their primary fusion, and rather than using maybe Power Bond, they try and bring out Hunting Hounds, fusion something from the hand, and then use something like Limiter Removal to double the attack, and this obviously has the added bonus that you can spring Limiter Removal during your opponent's turn if you want to. So yeah, that's pretty much all for this Ancient Gear pure build. Join us next week for a Railroad train build, and yeah, we might feature a duel between those on the channel coming up in the future. Hope you've liked the video. See you next time.